Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Flatcap EuroTalk, and I will be giving you my 5 managers that will be getting the sack this upcoming season in 2021-2022 season. Most of them I do think will be getting the sack before the holidays, so let's break these down, everybody. I will be starting, with plenty of managers from the Premier League, plenty of managers from the Bundesliga and Serie A and La Liga to choose from, and this is the pool of managers in front of you that I decided to pick from here. But let's move on to number 5. I am picking 5 managers to pick from here, and the first one is going to be Steve Bruce from Newcastle. Steve Bruce, I do think, could be getting the sack before the holidays this season. He's a bit of an unpopular character with Newcastle fans for playing a bit of uninteresting football, some might say. He did just lose his first game to 4-2 to West Ham as well. Finished quite comfortably in 12th last season, a bit mid-table, but as well, he did have plenty of awful spells of football with the club where the fans were actually asking for the sack of him last season. And if they were to continue maybe another bad spell of form, they definitely could be asking for the sack again. He's definitely very heavily reliant on certain players like Callum Wilson and St. Maximin. If they were to fall to injury, this definitely could even hurt his chances even more. Lack of investment also probably hurts his chances with only Joe Willock coming in this transfer window for Newcastle. Lots of things could probably go wrong for Steve Bruce here. Definitely think this is probably the end of him if he's not able to turn it around for them. Moving on to number 4 here, we are going to be going to a manager that just was hired, but this is going to be a bit of an outside shout here. It is going to be Luciano Spalletti of Napoli. Napoli definitely have had a bit of an, let's say, poor run these last few seasons, considering that they did just sack Gattuso, the very infamous one, for not really having such kind words for certain players, as well as also just being a very divisive character at the club. They decided to get rid of him and replace him with Luciano Spalletti. Spalletti definitely is one I've respected. He just came from a spell at Inter a few years ago. Definitely was inactive, I believe, for 2 seasons. But this is the thing. It's kind of hard to pick a manager from Serie A to be sacked with all the new managers that are kind of rotating around in Serie A. It's a bit like Bundesliga, where there were just so many managers replacing one another. In the Serie A, you kind of think that someone does have to finish 7th. Someone does have to kind of finish way outside the European spots, and it probably could be Napoli, considering that Spalletti's been out of the game for a while. Jose with Roma, he's gone to Roma. Jose, I do think there's going to be plenty of investment there. It's definitely possible Jose could finish in the top 6. Simone Inzaghi just moved from Lazio to Inter, has definitely found a bit of success there. Maurizio Sarri with Lazio definitely could have a bit of success. Maurizio Sarri definitely has had his best years as a manager in Serie A, and as well as a very attacking manager. And then Massimiliano Allegri has just gone to Juventus and replaced Andrea Pirlo. Considering all these managers I just mentioned, I don't think any of them would be getting the sack, so I will go with Spalletti to get the sack. He has never won the league. He's definitely known as more of a defensive manager. Napoli are probably more of an attacking team, and him being a defensive manager, maybe that could be a recipe for success. Maybe that could be a recipe for failure, but I do wish Spalletti all the best. I do like him and respect him as a manager, but I do think there's a strong chance if I were to pick, a top club from Serie A for them to sack someone, it probably would be Napoli and then sacking Spalletti. Moving on to Marcelino of Athletic Bilbao. Athletic Bilbao finished pretty horribly in 10th last season. That's pretty outside, a lot of European spots for La Liga. Plenty of teams finished above them. They did just also drop points in their first game to Elche as well. I will say with Marcelino, he definitely is a bit of an old school kind of manager. He's definitely, probably going against a lot with the likes of Bilbao. They do kind of, have an interesting system where they do deploy mostly Basque players. That can definitely be a hindrance to him. But you also think about it as well. He's a bit of a cup manager, and his cup success was very successful, but he lost 2 Copa del Rey finals, and in those Copa del Rey finals, he lost 4-0 to Barcelona, and then in the other final, they lost to their biggest rival of the Basque region, Real Sociedad, 1-0. I do think that definitely probably hurt the fans a lot. Very successful to get to those 2 finals, but lost both of them, and then also finishing 10th as well. He signed on a 2-year contract in 2021 that will end in 2022 if they do not renew it. And again, like I said, they drew 0-0 with yesterday to Elche, so you have to consider that this is probably a manager that definitely is probably going to be seeing the last of Bilbao. Moving on, though, to my second pick, it is going to be Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I don't, there's so many things that could go into it. Maybe let's just start with the fact that, they did finish 8th in the Premier League behind Spurs, very thankfully. And then as well, they have had significant investment considering, their years without the UEFA Champions League. And with that significant investment, you would think that the board owners would be expecting a lot more from Arteta. They just gave him Lakanga from Anderlecht, who does look like a good player, I will say. Ben White, they definitely overpaid for, but again, just significant investment. And then Nuno Tavares from Benfica, a bit of investment there, a left wing back for them, to replace the Tierney at times. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I would say, if the players don't kick on that they signed, they definitely will be blaming Arteta. And again, he's had lots of time to be able to kick off. He definitely opened the season poorly with that loss to Brentford. No goals scored, and as well, that's a clean sheet for Brentford, which gives them tons of hope. He did have a poor start to the season last season. You would think that maybe the board would probably not let that happen again. They wouldn't let it drag on too long again. And then also the all or nothing series curse. I do think that probably is a real thing, the all or nothing series. They probably do have to be a bit more cutthroat, either for the television or just, to show that they're, a bit more of a ruthless club and not, give Arteta too many chances. So definitely could be interesting. And I will have my popcorn out for that series. But moving on to number 1, it will be Peter Bosz of Olympique Lyon. Peter Bosz is kind of known as like a bit of maybe like the Dutch Marcelo Bielsa, but definitely has not had as much success, you might say, as Marcelo Bielsa. He definitely has a very philosophical approach to the game. He's very attacking. It's very brilliant. It's very pressing based. It's kind of like maybe the ultimate version of, the German pressing football that we see with Klopp, but even more attacking in an even higher line, and definitely exposes his team even more than other teams. But you do think about it, he's not really much of a consistent winner. Definitely he's had plenty of preventable mistakes as a manager. He could have probably had plenty of games where, could have kept it a bit more lower scoring, with the likes of Dortmund, who he got sacked with very early. With Leverkusen, he had a bit of success, but was sacked at the end of his spell for kind of, going in and out of form. He's just as a bit of a streaky manager, I would say. And, it doesn't seem to have a bit of consistency with the bigger sides. And I think the bigger sides are finding him to be too much of a risk now. He did just join, a very young and energetic Lyon side. But with Lyon, he just dropped points in his first match to Brest, a much lower level side, and then lost his second match to Angers 3-0 as well. So they are only 1 point after 2 games in Liga. That is definitely very, very damaging to Peter Bosz. And I would say he's the most likely person I could see getting the sack. Lots of teams have had no problem with sacking him early. Does seem like it could be happening to him again. But with all these managers, I do wish them the best. I do wish them the best. It's hard to see managers like this maybe be sacked so early into their tenure, but I have to come up with some people, and these are definitely some spicy picks, I will say. But thank you guys for joining me for the very first episode of Flatcap EuroTalk. I really do hope you enjoyed. Please leave your comments down below for this. I really will respond to them. I would love to see which managers you think will be getting this season. Please let me know in the comments below. I would appreciate it, and I will respond to them as quickly as I can. I really do hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Please subscribe if you're new. Please subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will be seeing you. Thank you very much, guys.